In my video that I put up in early December, I told you I needed to replace this 2017 10.5-inch iPad Pro. If you haven't seen that video, you should. I'll put a link to it in the description below. Have a watch. In it, I talk about what I use this iPad for, and I gave you a chance to input on the what do I replace it with dilemma. And with your help, I decided on what you ask. Stick around to find out the what and the why. Welcome back to my extremely messy office, and thanks for tuning in. Ladies and gentlemen, meet my new iPad Mini 7th Gen, or as Apple likes to call it, the iPad Mini A17 Pro, because those Pro names matter, I guess. Folks, this thing is so cute, so lightweight, coming in at just 293 grams. It's small for sure, but I can't hold it in one hand like so many YouTubers can. Unable to do so. It's possible I could blame my arthritis, but it's more likely that I just have small hands. Don't get me wrong, I like my 10.5 iPad Pro. It was a great machine. It did a great job for the 6 years that I owned it. But among other problems, it has no battery life left. I basically concluded I had two replacement options. One, a used or refurbished 11-inch M2 iPad Pro. That would have been identical but faster, like for like replacement. It would have had the same screen size, same screen, same audio, etc., etc., etc. Or two, I could downsize to the iPad Mini for better portability while traveling, doing field work, which are two of my primary uses. As I noted in my December video, I had the luxury of time to decide to see what prices were doing. The Mini 7 was released in October 2004 for $830 in Canadian dollars for the 256 gig Wi-Fi configuration that I was interested in. Typically, it takes about 6 months for a product to show up in Apple's refurb store after release. That would have meant waiting until April to see what kind of discount would have been in the refurb store. Typically, the refurb store is 15 to 20-ish% off. But for 4 more months, additional aging on a used M2 Pro's battery, that wasn't appealing. So there was some incentive to me to not take too much time, as some of you actually pointed out in the comments to my previous video. And then I found a deal. Yeah, and not just a deal, a great deal. In Canada, we have this company called openbox.ca. They have a big online presence. They have 3 brick and mortar stores in Vancouver. They have 4 and more in Calgary. They're an authorized Apple dealer. They sell a bunch more things than computers and tablets. They sell new products. They sell used products. But they specialize in, as their name says, open box products. So, in case you don't know, open box means somebody bought something, opened them, tried it, decided they didn't like it, or didn't want it, and returned it. Sometimes open box products are store demos or loaner machines. Apple's refurb store often has open box products from tester guys that bought it, tested it, made a video about it, returned it. But they don't call them open box. Open box items are basically unused. Openbox.ca, the company, has had used or open box iPad Mini 6s available for years. In the beginning of December, just 2 months after the iPad Mini 7 was released, Openbox.ca started advertising OpenBox 256 gig iPad Mini 7s for just 700 Canadian dollars. That's $130 or 16% less than a new a Mini 7 from Apple. About a week after that, they also started offering new iPad Mini 7s for just $750 or $70 off. I noticed that websites Apple Insider and Mac Rumors both got very excited when B&H and Best Buy in the US knocked $70 off the iPad Mini for a sale just before and during Christmas. Well, that deal is available in Canada anytime you want it from openbox.ca. Before buying, I made a quick check. The best deals I could find on 11-inch iPad Pros were through Best Buy. Here are 2 of them, $770 for a 3rd Gen M1, $805 for a 4th Gen M2. So I bit the bullet and bought this, the OpenBox iPad Mini from openbox.ca. They're not paying me to say this. I'm not affiliated with them in any way. Shipping was so fast I got it by Christmas Eve, which was great. As soon as I got it, I ran a check with Coconut Battery. The battery in here is brand new with just 3 charge cycles on it. and there's not a speck on it. It looks and acts brand new. The only thing different between this and a new one, and no plastic wrap.
Got the box, got the Apple charger, got the braided cable, got the paperwork. Personally, I'll give up plastic wrap to save $130. Wouldn't you?
So I've had it for about a week or so, and here are my first impressions. Remember, I don't use my iPad that much in the winter, so I've been using it just to use it. First up, the display. Yes, I downgraded from my iPad Pro's 120 Hz ProMotion display to this 60 Hz display. Do I notice it? Yeah, but not enough to make it bothersome.
I notice it the most when scrolling social media posts or news feeds. I used to be able to read them as they drifted by in motion. Not anymore. Do I care? No. I watch video that's shot in 30 FPS or 60 FPS, so I don't see any degradation from what I was watching before. My laptop's 60 Hz, my external monitor is 75 Hz, so I see the display is pretty normal and it's fine. And by the way, you probably can't see any of this here because I'm filming at 60 FPS. Do I personally see the infamous jelly scrolling that tech folks like to complain about? Nope. Another thing tech people like to complain about are the screen's bezels. Oh, they're too thick, they proclaim. To me, these bezels are perfect for holding the Mini. The bezels on the side of my iPad Pro were too narrow, and I was regularly touching the screen with my thumb. That does not happen on the Mini. Second, display size. Yes, there's less screen real estate, but it doesn't really feel like it since everything displays smaller, which can be good and bad. The Mini has a 45% smaller screen than an 11-inch iPad Pro. Some things do look slightly different on the screen, but that's a function of the individual app. Interestingly, the iPad Mini's aspect ratio is 3:2, and every other iPad's aspect ratio is 4:3. That leads to very interesting changes in the way apps with sidebars lay out. So it's a different viewing experience, but it's not a bad viewing experience. Boost the font size a bit, and all is good. Multitasking on an iPad is now, and always has been, a joke. I tried using split screen on the Mini to run two apps in landscape orientation. It works fine. But I rarely ever did that on my iPad Pro. I'm equally as unlikely to do it on my Mini. So it's not good, but it's not a change, so I don't care.
Third, audio. 2 speakers compared to my iPad Pro's 4 speakers. Do I notice a difference? No, basically. Hold the iPad Pro just right, cup your hands behind the speakers to emphasize those quad speakers, and maybe, but nobody does that. So no, there's really no downgrade with the audio. The Mini is just as loud as its older twin, bigger brother. Fourth, portability. Win. This thing's awesome. It's tiny, it's light, it's one-handable without your arm getting tired. Did I mention it's just 293 grams? That's 37% lighter than my old iPad Pro and 34% lighter than the super sleek, brand spanking new M4 iPad Pro.
One thing that one-handability does is make you want to use the Mini in portrait orientation almost all the time. Apps seem to know this. Almost every app I tried is better in portrait on the Mini than in landscape. I rarely used my iPad Pro in portrait, but that's exactly how I grab and use my Mini.
Fifth, battery life. I admit this is a completely unfair comparison. My Pro has a degraded battery that's 6 years old and has almost 600 cycles on it. The Mini, brand new, and well, you can sure tell. Transferring the data from the Pro to the Mini caused the Pro's charge level to drop by almost 20%. The Mini went down by 6%. I'm back to all-day battery life, but then I knew that would be the case. I bought a new one to get a new battery, so guess what? The new battery's better. Sixth, Apple Intelligence. So far, I have not heard a feature coming in Apple Intelligence that's even remotely useful or interesting to me. I used ChatGPT in the past, and I can't think of it for use into the future. So I don't care about Apple Intelligence, but I was pleased that the Mini 7 supports it. Unless you're Canadian like me. See the settings page for Apple Intelligence? In case you can't read it, it says, Apple Intelligence is not available when Siri is set to English Canada. That actually made me laugh. The top selling feature and the main reason they want you to upgrade from an iPad Mini 6 isn't available in Canada. Awesome. So I'm very pleased with this iPad Mini so far. I got the Mini for a better deal than I was expecting. I got it earlier than I was expecting. And so far it does everything I needed to do and a whole pile more. Now that I have this thing though, I need more things to go with it. Guess what? I'll have to get even more stuff for my perpetually messy office. I've already ordered and received a bunch of accessories, and in my next video, I'll talk about them. Like and subscribe if you're interested to see what accessories I got and how it all works out. I'm going to go play with my iPad mini now. Thanks for watching.